Hi, thanks for coming to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things craft related, witchy, law of attraction, manifesting, um, esoteric, and everything else in between. Today's topic is going to be about the wheel of the year and how to focus your energy using the seasons. So we're talking spring, summer, fall, and winter. So I was reading one of my books here, and this book has been out for some time. Let me look at the copyright date because I should have looked at that beforehand. It's Deborah Blake, Everyday Witchcraft, 2015. So it's been a few years, and I got this. I had this at least a year. I don't know exactly, but at least a year I've had this book. But here it is, Deborah Blake, Everyday Witchcraft, Making Time for Spirit in a Too Busy World. It's a great reference. It's not too thick. Not that that bothers me, but it's not too thick. So I think it's a good book to learn from, especially if you're trying to figure all this out and you're trying to, have a life, you work, even if you're like me and you don't have an outside job. If you just feel like you're busy all the time, for instance, if you hear some noises in the background, that's the drawer going. It's going nonstop because I believe someone left change in their pocket. But anyway, I have so much laundry to catch up on. I have a basket of clothes right here down at my feet that I'm going to be folding momentarily. But I wanted to make this video because I was reading this and I thought it'd be awesome to share. So I'll go ahead and just jump right in. So the best time to focus your energy for certain parts of your life. So spring, I'll jump right in. Spring, for instance. We know spring's a time for birth, rebirth. We know it's a great time to start new projects. I know for me, I'm very motivated. It's how people feel about the new year. I feel that way, if not stronger, in the spring. Come April, May, I'm like ready to okay, what's on the agenda? Let's plan everything. I can make lists for days on things I want to do, manifestation lists, things like that, things I want to accomplish. I'll think about the end of the year. I'll plot out to the next spring. I'm like in full planning mode. Let's get this show started. I'm ready to go, whatever the project is. That's a good time for me. I respond to that just organically. I don't even think about it. To me, that's like go time to start planning and starting a project. Oh, are we going to do some, home design stuff? Like for me, I'll be the one saying, or we're going to do some home design stuff. We're going to change the look, buy new pillows, buy new rugs, buy curtains, whatever. That's a good time for me. One thing that I read that stood out to me in this book when they were talking about this, Deborah Blake, is she was saying, don't expect rapid movement. And that's how I approach it. So with any type of workings or spells or magic that you're doing, now I'm speaking seasonally. So you're working in this time frame, the time of the year where it's spring. So it's more about planting seeds. You're not rushing anything. This is not a time to rush anything. You'll reap, but let's just plant it. Sort of in the same way you do with planting in the garden. In the spring, you plant, and there's going to be some things that may pop up. For the most part, you got to be a little patient, and you have to wait. So this is a good time for long-term planning. Like I said, in the same way you would approach, your New Year's resolution and things like that. This is a great time to do spells that have a long-term effect. Something that you'll keep stoking, you keep working on as the years goes up. Maybe you light a specific candle weekly or monthly or at a certain phase of the moon, but it all started during the spring season, things like that. This is a good time to do that type of working. I'll just go ahead. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward to me. Spring is just about just get your goals in order, get everything, start focusing on your goals, make your list, get your planners, write everything down. If you want to be married by a certain point, spring is a great time to approach this, if you're single at that time, I'm not saying you can't do it now, but I'm saying spring is a great time that if you are still single and you don't want to be single, is a great time to pull out your planner and look at it and say, when do I want to be married? You don't have to be dating anybody. I've done this, by the way, before I was married some time ago. When do I want to, it'd be nice to, I'd love to be married this time next year. Or I'd always wanted to have a fall wedding next year. So it's that sort of thing. So you write it down. You begin to visualize it, manifest it, and you can do spell work for it in the spring, because you're giving yourself a good period of time to work on this, to meet somebody, to fall in love, or they fall in love with you, and and you know what I'm saying. And you guys get together or whatever, you know, and do this wedding thing. So spring's a good time for that. The other thing, the other season, summer, next season, and I feel like this is a time where things are fast. Things move more rapidly due to the sun's energy. It heats up, you know. This is a good time to kind of tap into that energy, to clear some stuff up. Because everything's bright. And I just metaphorically and literally everything's a lot brighter in the summertime. So metaphorically speaking, you can get more, clarity on situations around the sun. This is a good time to do workings where you need to understand more. You need to, do tarot readings. This is a good time to get a reading done if you've never gotten a reading done. Get your astrological chart done. Your birth chart. Get that done. Like, that's a good time because it's rapid. You sought it out, you got it. And then if you got that information and you want to do more with it, do it. This is a good time to do those type of workings where there's so much energy. But if you try to bottle that energy, that sun's energy, so to speak, coat it in different things and your crystals and things like that, so you can get a bit of that for the coming seasons where things are gonna slow down a lot more. It's a good time if you did have a bright idea about doing something and you sort of thought about wanting to take a risk, do a job change, I don't know what's going on there. Whatever it is, this is a good time. Forge ahead. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and get it done. Do it. Those powerful spells where you kind of need a little bit more action. You need it to come together. You want to move into a new house. I'm trying to think. You want to make a baby. Be careful. The astrological sign, though. But I'm just saying, if you want to start the baby making process, go ahead. Get into it. And summer's a good action time. Just that season is action, so more action-oriented type of workings. That's a good time for that. Not that they all aren't technically action-oriented, but the ones where you want fast money spells, that kind of thing. Fall, things start to slow down. They're starting to slow down in the fall, just as it is in the actual literal fall. From a nature's perspective. So it's basically a time you should harvest what you've already planted. It's harvest time. So those goals from before, some of those should be coming through now. You should have reached them, hopefully achieved them. And if you haven't, it's a good time to assess or reassess what's going on. Why didn't I get out of debt? Or why am I not, maybe you didn't get out of debt from spring to fall, but why am I more in debt and I was supposed to be working on debt? That's a good question, especially if nothing, crazy happened. The car broke down, but you had money saved up, so it doesn't make any sense. So it's time to reassess why am I not reaching my goals? Why have I not lost, in my case, trying to lose weight, why haven't I lost more weight? And, journal. I can't say journal enough. Write your stuff down. Write down how you feel. Write down, especially when you're creating a big project like getting a healthy lifestyle, working out, eating right, whatever it is. If you're working on some sort of creative project, I'm someone who's writing a book. You have to plan that out. You have to plan everything out. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you got to plan this stuff out. Why are you not further along? Why have you only created one video? Why haven't you placed a video but you have all these ideas, or you have a bunch of recorded videos and you haven't posted them? This is a time to assess what is really going on. Why am I not moving? I had the power, I had the thought to do it. The creativity was behind me. And then the summer season, I was fired up about it, and I actually went through the creation process, and now it's the fall. What's happening? Why am I behind? So this is a good time to assess. And if you have accomplished your goals and it's the fall, awesome. Pat yourself on the back. You did good. That's great. This is a time to, you can feel good. Like I said, it's reaping time. It's harvest time. It's okay to feel good about it. Celebrate your accomplishments, your achievements, and things like that. The other thing I just want to point out, I've realized in the fall that a lot of people start school, not just children, but if you're in college or, postgraduate, whatever. Fall is the time you go back to school, and it might be looked at as, well, that's actually a beginning phase, because I kind of, when I actually, yeah, when my kids were in school, when I was in school, and I homeschooled as well, fall was new beginnings to me. But new beginnings in a way, not the same way that spring is, where to me it's like time to get ready to go inward and learn. Ironically though, now that I think about it, I spent spring planning and going into the summer for the fall as a homeschool teacher to my kids. So I spent all that time planning, and then fall was basically all the goodies, all the things that I had planned for us to actually use them, harvest them, so to speak. So then again, I think it still follows with what I'm saying about the whole fall thing. It's a harvest time. It's time to, like I said, reassess, figure things out. What do you need to do different next time? And if you've done a great job, celebrate. So that's great in the fall season. Now, again, just to reiterate, I'm talking about doing working, spell works, charms, whatever meditation, or manifesting, using law of attraction, however, from a wheel of the year seasonal aspect. So winter, the final season. Things have definitely slowed down by winter. Winter time for me, I am someone who's actually experienced seasonal depression. At the time we were living in Tennessee, and the sun never came out. I think it went on for weeks. And I'm not exaggerating. I didn't see the sun. It was always cloudy. If it came out, I missed it. So it definitely affected me, and I just felt so down. When you're wearing pajamas all day, and I was working from home, and I didn't feel like getting dressed. Then I started working at night, and I felt like it just did not work. I felt like a vampire. I was like, I'm becoming another type of person. Let me tell you something. You mess around with people's sleep, you change this in the seasons too. Then the daylight saving times thing, man, I was so messed up for a period of time. I didn't feel like myself. I was like, I am turning into some sort of other supernatural creature. I really thought I was like, next thing you know, I'm going to be craving blood. I thought I was going to be a vampire. I was getting paler by the minute because there was no sun. Now, I had just moved from Florida. That might be a problem at the time because, I was used to the sun all the time. So, well, no. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Winter. Things slow down. It's a time to turn inward. It's time to be quiet. Hey, you want to try some meditation styles? You want to give yoga a go? This is a great time of year to do it. It's a good time in the season to work on that sort of stuff. Excuse me, my allergies are acting up again. And I can't even tell you what it is. It's probably the laundry detergent and all that. So many chemicals, right? I gotta do better on that. I like the nice scents, but they might be low-key taking me out. So, I would say if, like, for me, I'm home, I can definitely have the luxury of really just sort of shutting the world out for a bit. But, people, I understand, have families, they have to go to work, they have things to do. Some of the great things they suggest in here to do, to kind of slow things down is maybe read more books than watch TV. Meditate, like I said, take a bath, take a nice spiritual bath. Start going to bed early. Rest up. This is time to rest. The winter is a time to rest. It's time to be cuddly, snuggly. Get your blankets, be comfortable. Any sort of workings you're doing, this is a great time to do gratitude for the, you can plan for spring, but I wouldn't do any of the workings until spring, if possible. But for the most part, it would all just be about, for me anyway, just celebrating the time and just being grateful. Think about what happens in the wintertime. We're just from American holidays. So you're done with Thanksgiving, because that's technically fall. So you have Christmas, New Year's. It's just a time to sort of, in New Year's, I think people get real reflective as they're still looking ahead, but reflective of the year that's gone by. So it's just, just take it easy, celebrate Christmas. Eat, have your good snacks. Hopefully they're healthy but still delicious. Get some wine, if you like. Just chill for a bit. And, you light candles, light white candles just cause. Scent it with vanilla. Have your scented candles, but still enchant them. Hopefully they're more, made with natural ingredients. But this is a time to just, keep a chill ambiance and just be in a place of gratitude. in the winter months. Um, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And it's just something I notice I do this again naturally. Um, Sometimes we just respond to the seasons, whether we realize we're doing it or not, but really think about it. You typically just go with the flow. Summertime, you're fired up, sex things, if you want to be more sexy, you want love potions, love spells. Spring going into summer is a good time for that. But winter, you don't really think about, at least I don't, a love spell or, nothing like that. Passion maybe, because everything's sort of dead, so you kind of want to give a little bit of life to some things. So maybe to become more of a passionate person, to become a little more desirable to your partner or someone else. I can see tweaking spells in the wintertime and using certain ingredients. I'm thinking cranberries, pomegranate. Is pomegranate in the winter? I don't know. You know, just basically winter themes, the mistletoe, that sort of thing, right? And then the only other thing I just wanted to say is, which I kind of alluded to a moment ago, so it's not any of these seasons, so you feel like you need to rest and it's, summer. You had a different kind of life over the winter and spring. And summer, it's like, no, I'd like a break now. Hey, that's cool too, if that's where you're at, from a witchcraft perspective. If you feel like, yeah, the sun's energy is wearing me out. I don't want to do any spell work. I don't want any, real action item type spell works. I don't want any thing to work really fast. I want to take the approach that you would take in winter now, because I have a different kind of life. Fine, because nothing's perfect. Everyone doesn't work the same. Everyone's lives aren't the same. So I completely understand. But fun fact, if you lean more into, if possible, working with the seasons, working with the lunar phases, working basically in these sort of predefined within witchcraft times, the days of the week, using certain colors, get real minute about it. Try it. I have had wonderful success. Wonderful success. You do certain workings around a certain time of the year and on the right moon phase, on the right day, and you use the right set of colors. Listen, I know some people would argue and say, well, that I've done things, where it shouldn't have worked at that time or on different days. And I have too. And yes, it still works. I understand that. But I can think of times where I did line it up correctly and I got good results. Like it really worked. It really worked, and it worked like it was supposed to. No mishaps, no backfire spells or anything like that. It really works. So to each their own, however you want to see it, but it works. If you can't maybe do it every time, but if you can, if you have an opportunity to line things up, sure, go at it. Now, for instance, fall's coming up, and I was saying it's a good time to harvest what you've already planted. Assuming you've already, set goals in the spring, hopefully you can reap now. So as far as in practical terms, what you could be doing right now is, let's say, okay, perfect example. I knew in the spring I wanted my home. I knew in the spring I wanted certain home. I wanted my home. Let's just start there. The home that I live in now, I knew I wanted this home. So in the fall, now would be a good time to decorate the home. So I have the home now. Now it's a good time to decorate. Now it's a good time to get pieces that have meaning to me, not only that I think look nice, but have some sort of meaning. Now is the time to bring those in. So it's not a new beginning, because the seed had been planted in the spring and now I'm just embellishing on it. Another example would be, I set intentions for my book in the spring. I fell off, so now it's time to reassess. I fell off. I want to say I got writer's block, but I got lazy is what I did, and I got distracted and then lazy. It's a little bit of both, but mostly distracted. So I didn't finish. So I'm going to finish. So now's the time for me to look at, well, what were your distractions? Why'd you allow this? This is a good time for me to ask myself those questions so I could avoid that and get on track and do it. So it's not so much that I'm going to set a new goal. I'm reassessing the original goal that I made in the spring, which I actually did. I set up a schedule of how, my writing schedule, but I didn't adhere to it. So I'm not anywhere near my goal. I didn't reach my goal. So I'm reassessing now, and I will also, because I'm me, I will also make sure to do some sort of spell to keep distractions away. I'll probably use a crystal if I don't, or just put some energy into a crystal, or find a specific crystal, or maybe it'll be, a ring or a bracelet or something that you touch. And the whole point is to connect, okay, focus, focus on what you're doing. No, we're not doing this right now. Do the mundane things, turn off your phone, turn off the notifications, do all that sort of stuff. But, enchant a piece of jewelry, like I said, or crystal, both, all of these things, and keep that with me and make it part of my writing ritual. I've been thinking lately on how I would do that, because we're coming up on fall and I'm reassessing. So I'm thinking, how do I go about this? So let me do this type of magic, because it's, connected to the original goal I set in the spring. I reassess, and now I'm going to do it working to make, to get myself back on my goal. So that's how I'm lining all this up. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about goal of the year and workings and doing it at, certain seasons. I hope that all that made sense. It makes sense to me, so I don't know. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I had to say about that. These types of things are super helpful to me. I like having a sense of structure to my spirituality, but I don't want dogma. I won't accept it. I don't respond well to that. Get out of here. I don't want to hear it. You lost me if you start giving me dogma. I don't want necessarily, and this is the Aries in me for sure, someone to tell me what to do. I like to go get things from different resources. Like I said, I read books. Whatever I read, I keep notes. Here's my notebook. I got my notes. I look at my notes. I go back and look at it when it's helpful to me, when I feel it's going to be helpful to me, when I feel like, wait, I know what this is. What is it? How should I do this again? Or it's this time of year. You got to think about these things sometimes. My notes are super helpful to me, and the books that I have a nice library of books, and I'll be adding more to them. And then I have the digital version, because I have a Kindle Fire, and I use my stuff. I look at all these different resources, and I highlight things. I put little bookmarks in, little sticky notes, so that I could go back, because I know it's something that I feel like it's going to be necessary later, so I'll highlight it. Or I just thought it was profound in that moment, and it makes me think, or share and do a YouTube video for it. I get a kick out of doing that sort of stuff, and hopefully that's how you practice your craft or your spirituality, where you stay varied, stay open, and don't close your mind to just because you've read something before. Pick it up and go through it again. And just a little bit about this book, since I'm talking about it. Again, Everyday Witchcraft, Making Time for Spirit in a Too Busy World by Deborah Blake. So like I said, it was copyright 2015. And the thing that I think is really cool about this book is that it's so easy to follow. She writes so plainly and simple. I actually follow this woman on Facebook. I don't know if she has an Instagram. I didn't find it, but I found her on Facebook. And she's, very down to earth. I have her tarot cards that she did. It's the same thing, Everyday Witchcraft Tarot. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Those are awesome cards. If you're trying to learn tarot, man, pick up those cards. They are so easy to follow. The meanings, to me, you look at the pictures, the meanings make sense. Not even from a beginner's point of view. You just sort of want to, I don't want to say not think about it, because you should always be thinking about the cards and tarot. But if you don't want to get a headache trying to understand the meaning, and you really just want to look at the card and get a meaning, it's everyday witchcraft. It's using like everyday people. I don't know. I get a kick out of some of her stuff. She didn't do the artwork. I don't know I forget the woman's name who did, but it's pretty cool. But this book, for instance, the introduction, Living Your Best Magical and Mundane Life. And that's most of us. She talks about a daily practice, how to connect with a deity. bringing magic into your everyday life, like 5-minute rituals. This is the kind of stuff, to me, this is like a little Bible, you know, for practicing witchcraft. You know, it gives you just that information for the daily living, you know. I don't know, I like it. I think it's good. You can't take everything out of here. You might not use everything. For instance, I don't have any pets, and I don't plan on having any anytime soon. And she dedicates a section of this about connecting with animals and, you know, your little furry friends and things like that. I don't have anything against animals. I just, you know, look, I've had kids since I was 20-something, early 20s. And we had a dog too at one point. I've been taking care of beings for my entire adult life. I don't want to take care of another being right now. I think this is a good time for me to just, I don't take care of my husband. He's a grown man, you know. I, you know, support him and, you know, respect this dude. And, you know, we live together. We build our lives together. And yeah, I do your laundry and things like that. But kids, you know, taking care of people who can't do for themselves, that's different. You know, he leaves for hours out of the day. I don't want to take care of any other beings. I need a break. I don't want to pick up anybody else's waste. I don't want to do that anymore. I think I've paid my dues. So maybe in a few more years, I might want a little furry friend. But right now, I want to go when I want to go. I don't want to have to get some sort of care for any being. I'll have a spirit friend. That's it. And don't ask me to do too much more. It's like, look, you need to find things to do when I'm not home. And no, you can't come with me. Anyway, yeah, this book is so cool. I just, you know, daily household rituals, cleansing, grounding, protection. You know, it speaks to me as a cottage witch. So, you know, just all this sort of stuff. Definitely, if you haven't, it's been around for a minute, but pick it up, especially if you just need some help piecing this whole thing together, or you know, if you want some sort of framework, especially if you came from, you know, more of a structured religious environment. This helps you build a structure. I'm all about that, because you know, I like to do some things all willy-nilly and when it feels right and be a little wild, but for the most part, I like a little structure. I like a little routine. You know, I like a daily ritual. You know, I get my coffee in the morning and I sit down, I'll do a tarot reading. It might just be a 1 card. It might be on my heart to do a 3-card reading or something like that. And I write it down. Sometimes I don't write it down, you know, especially if it's 1 card, it'll just stay with me, or I'll leave it on my altar because I just want to think about it, look at it, you know, throughout the day. Those little rituals, that's the type of thing I've created for myself. I do that. And it keeps me in my witchiness. It keeps me connected. And of course, if you have an altar space and you have an altar to a specific deity, to your ancestors, if you're, you know, dealing with that every day, that keeps you in that vibe as well. It keeps you vibrating on that frequency. Yeah, that sort of stuff. I like that. I like all that sort of stuff. I stay in it. I'm never not. And I notice the difference if I don't keep it up, if I don't stay in that headspace with my rituals. I don't feel like me anymore. Yeah, it's not a cool feeling. You know, you're doing everything, you're going through the motions of life, but it's like eating food with no taste. You know, it doesn't have any real taste. Seasoning, something. Anyway, thank you for watching. I kind of rattled about for the last few minutes, but if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you. So I have a couple more videos coming up, and hopefully you enjoyed this one. I'm Mika, and this is Leave Taken. Bye.